Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in. We're just giving it a minute for folks to join in, and we'll be back in exactly a minute. All right, I can see a lot of people are joining in, and we have a couple of more people who just emailed us that they'll be joining. And either way, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining from or where you're watching this, if you're watching this recording. Thank you for being here and supporting our work with the Iris Plus Waste Management theme. My name is Oishi, and I will be your moderator for this webinar, and I work as part of the GIIN's Iris Plus IMM team. So just to start with a couple of housekeeping notes on agenda, please do keep yourselves on mute. There is an interactive feature thanks to Zoom webinar. So through your chat option, you will be able to ask questions anytime. And we do highly encourage that. And you will also be able to vote on questions that are already there. And our speakers will be checking it. I will be sending it to our speakers as well in real time, as well as a Q&A towards the very end. So please do use that feature, which keeps our webinars more interactive and interesting. Also, please do introduce yourselves if you'd like to know who is here in the room, and also get yourself known with a brief on your organization and the work that you do and what's bringing you here. We will start with introductions. We'll give you an overview of the themes, that including the one that's launching today, details of it, as well as on Iris Plus and how you can be involved. So without further ado, I'd like to start by introducing the GIIN for those of you who are new. The Global Impact Investing Network, we work across the world through our members of over 400 asset owners, asset managers, intermediaries, as well as stakeholders. We are based out of New York, but our work in impact investing is global through our members and beyond. We function as a community of practice across 50 plus countries represented through our members. We also offer tools, guidance, and resources to support impact considerations into investment decision-making by making access available to high-quality research, data, insights, as well as various programmings. We also have our annual Impact Forum coming up in 2 weeks in October in Berlin. If you haven't yet signed up, please do. And quickly switching to just a summary of the themes that are launching for Iris Plus. So for those of you who are new to Iris Plus is a set of tools and guidance to support investors to translate their impact intentions into reality. We have been launching Iris Plus themes for over 5 years now. The most recent ones have been throughout the last 1 year and less than that, including the most recent one that was launched just last December called the Climate Adaptation and Resilience theme. which many of you, I can see some familiar faces here live who have been part of in developing. Then we launched just in June, just this summer, our theme on marine resources conservation and management, which also is available now through various webinars, deep dive webinars that we are hosting to support with investor questions and how to make this guidance and tool and metrics work for your specific theory of change and impact model. And the theme that's launching this September, that has already launched, but the webinar is today we're discussing in depth, which is the waste management theme. So we started working on waste management theme in September 2025. Oh, sorry, not September. It's actually September 2024 officially, but before that with our research, it's launching in September. Currently, we have the public comment period inactive, which is until the end of October, and this theme will be available in Iris Plus finally in December 2025. So this theme has been made possible with the generous support from the Aspen Network of Development Entrepreneurs, known as the Aspen Institute, and also with the partnership with Circle Economy, led by the GIIN. So we do have a great conversation waiting for us to further dig into the process, the content. However, just a brief on like what's launching is 20 plus evidence-backed outcomes, 4 of which have core metric sets. However, for this beta version, you're welcome to review and comment on all of it, including the 70 plus new metrics and indicators, associated definitions, as well as evidence, resources, usage and calculation guidance as well. So what's new is like we do have a focus on informality in waste ecosystems, which is critical to measure and has been a deep focus of this work. We have multiple outcome indicators for the same strategic goals to support wider theories of change. We also have a really long list of 30 plus new metrics, which we've proposed for Iris Plus catalog, which are launching as part of this theme, however, can be used across various themes, SDGs. So please do keep that in mind as you are reviewing them, which is very exciting. So what you can do is, of course, explore the new content. You can ask questions, provide your feedback, and do definitely send and share with stakeholders you work with across the world to get their inputs in this critical work as well. So that's about it. And now we'll jump into the panel section of our webinar, starting with the introduction to our panelists. We have with us today Camilla Visconti from Circle Economy and Panagiota Bolfusia from Global Impact Investing Network. We'll be hearing from them, starting with Panagiota. So I will slowly switch to Panagiota and invite her to take us through the key essence of Iris Plus that we all need to know to be able to comment on this critical piece of work. And then Camilla will help us understand the background and the journey with the working group and the entire process through which the theme was developed, including the content and what's available to review. So without further ado, I would hand it over to Panagiota.
Oishi, thank you so much. And just to note, Oishi is much more than just a moderator today. Masrura Oishi has been really a driving force behind this development for the Iris Plus waste management impact theme, as well as previous impact themes. Acknowledging the key contribution that you have made, Oishi. I'm Panagiota Bolfusia. I'm the director of Iris Plus IMM. I'm really glad that you have been able to join us for this call today. And I want to assume that everybody knows about even the GIIN or Iris Plus in particularly. So I'm just going to go through some slides to give some background into what we try to achieve and set the stage actually for Camilla to go much more deeper into the content that we're launching today as a beta phase. And we'll discuss more about that. So what is Iris Plus? Iris Plus is a set of tools and guidelines that are aimed to provide practical help for impact investors to implement their strategy and achieve better outcomes for people and planet. IRIS Plus has quite a long history. It has a history since 2009, so a long history indeed, and it has evolved and developed over that time. But really core to IRIS Plus since the beginning was that effort to try and pull together around impact measurement, in particular, metrics and indicators that are going to support very practically impact investors as they try to design and implement and monitor their strategies. And it's a public good. IRIS Plus is really free for everybody to use. I do encourage you, all you need to do is to go on our website. Actually, our website has been relaunched very recently, last week, with the effort of all the team, in particular Gulshan, who is not with us today, but just to call out her specific effort on that front. And it's a very refreshed design. I hope you enjoy that. So all you need to do is to go into our website and provide your email and a valid email, and then you can really explore the content by creating your own framework, which means you're guided through a navigation menu where you would direct the website based on your priorities, your impact themes, your SDGs, to pull out the content that's really relevant for you. Now, in the next slide and in the next few slides, I want to just highlight some of the elements that are absolutely critical to understand how we're going about developing the content that we will discuss later today with regards to waste management. And one of those really key pillars for IRIS Plus is the connection to the Sustainable Development Goals. We make the connection to the Sustainable Development Goals at the goal level for the strategic goals. The strategic goals are one of the elements in IRIS Plus. We'll discuss them later, but keep that in mind, strategic goals. And we link them to the UN SDG goals. And we also make the link at the metric level. Of course, metrics are at the heart of IRIS Plus, as are indicators. And the IRIS Plus metrics are connected to the sub-target level for the SDGs. So we have that connection, direct and indirect, at the goal level for the strategic goals, and at the target level for the metrics. And as you see here, in terms of the numbers, this is a connection we've been making consistently over the last few things. Then in the next 2 pages, I want to just bring forward 2 very important elements that will shed light on how we really develop the content that you're about to kind of explore at a very high level, and that we invite you to participate in. And indeed, participation, stakeholder participation and consultation is absolutely at the core of how we develop IRIS Plus content. And the reason for that is simple. What we want at the end is to create a collateral of tool, guidance, metrics, indicators, and contextual guidance that is really informed by the best investor best practice and is formulated in a way that is accessible to investors that, irrespective of actually where they are in their journey with regards to their implementation of an impact measurement and management framework. So it's for investors and in a way also by investors. We have the working groups that run for 6-7 months. It's an intensive co-creation process with a relatively small amount of expert organizations. And then we have a consultation group that is a much larger group that also provide input at key stages of the process. And then we have you and anybody who would like to participate in this current phase. We are in the public comment period. So that means that we have concluded our own initial development of the content. We've made the content public, and we have a consultation period where we invite anybody and everybody that's interested to look through, comment, provide their feedback, be that maybe metrics that they would like to see that is not there, or any type of feedback really. So that co-creation is at the heart of how we approach development at IRIS Plus. Then in this page, what you see is the other core pillar with regards to development of content for IRIS Plus, and that is other standards and frameworks. What we really try to do very intentionally is to lean in on the really amazing work that so many organizations may have done already, whether that is technical expert organizations that help with developing regulatory frameworks, and practitioners where they have developed metrics, indicators, other framings that help understand, in this case, measure for the topics relevant to the broad impact theme of waste management and the very relevant theme of circularity as well in this context. So we really try to lean into the amazing work that's been done already and bring in metrics and indicators, especially metrics that exist, and translate them into a framework that makes sense for impact investors and that's fit for use for impact investing. That means that we add specific metric usage guidance. We also curate indicators from multiple metrics and add calculation guidance and bring all that information into an interface that is really built for the purpose of impact investing practice. Where necessary, we will also evolve those metrics, or if we see a gap, we will explore new metrics and propose those as well. And with all that, we come to a relatively complex picture, we hope. Maybe also the next slide, please. Kyoishi. That aims to provide practical tools for impact investors to approach an understanding of impact performance of their investees. IRIS Plus focuses on investee level impact performance. And through that process of understanding, measuring, grappling also with the very real difficulties with regards data and other aspects that make this exercise actually not straightforward, we are convinced that this sort of engagement is really at the heart at what can make an investing strategy much more impactful for people on the planet. So what you see here as well in this slide is just two things. It's not really a slide to go deep into, but just to note that there is a lot of work that we have done already across many impact themes in IRIS Plus, and those impact themes relate to a larger number of strategic goals. What is also the case, and what we try to surface within our work, is the multiple interconnections that exist across strategic goals, across impact themes, across also impact categories, reflecting the nuance and the interconnection that exist across sustainability challenges and sustainability opportunities in our world. I've spoken a little bit already with regards the development of impact themes, and for that matter, also impact lenses in the context of IRIS Plus. This is a kind of a timeline and milestone visualization of that. Again, the key elements or the key participants are the GIIN IRIS Plus team is leading that process, in this case, Oishi. We also have a technical expert partner, in this case, Circular Economy for Waste Management, an absolutely key input in the development of this content. And we also have the group of practitioners that really we take on a journey with us to provide us with the insights as to what works in practice, what is best practice, and what are the gaps with regards to practice. So these stakeholders, guided by the IRIS Plus team, work together over many months to create the content that Camilla will delve into. And here now we are in that period where we have developed that content. We call that the beta launch, which means that it's developed, but it's not yet uploaded on the website. It's not finalized. We're in this public comment period where your input is so much needed and wanted. Further to that, I want to provide just one more insight about the workings of this period of time where the working group, the technical expert partner, and the IRIS Plus team really work intensively together in this process of co-creation. What we really aim at is to start macro. We start big. We ask again, what is waste management impact theme? What is the future we want to see? with regards to waste management, but also where are we now? And what is the journey look like? What are the strategic goals we need to be really focused on achieving? And what are the tangible, measurable, actionable outcomes that realistically investees and investors, even within individual deals and investments, can aim to and aspire to shift in order for that future vision of the strategic goals and the impact theme becomes a reality. So we start big and then we go very, very narrow to the technical detail. What do we need to know? What is the data that will tell us that? What are the metrics and indicators that can be standardized to support a whole practice to improve their performance and reach towards those necessary outcomes that will trigger the needed change? And we have that iterative process of going back into the macro and then into the detail to develop the content that we will discuss very shortly. And this last page for my part in this presentation is show you a little bit on the right how this content looks like. This is what we call the working paper. This is the beta version of the waste management impact theme, obviously just a very small extract, but visually, this is what you may have already seen if you have if you have already accessed the resource, or that you will see if you access the resource after, hopefully sometime after this webinar, and Oishi will delve much more deeply into that. But this is basically the indicators, the metrics, the calculation guidance, and links to the metric guidance as well. And some question we're asking from the reviewers, from yourselves, if you feel that you have inputs to provide and you would like to share, that's more than welcome. What you would expect really, if you're currently tracking this indicator metric, how are you using this, or you might be using this? How is it relevant to you or not relevant? Are you seeing it? Are you not seeing something that you would think is very important and you would like to see? And any feedback at all. So we really hope to engage you with this important impact theme and hope to hear from you soon. Thanks very much. And I'll pass over maybe back to Oishi.
Thanks so much, Payilda, for this wonderful overview. And folks, as somebody has noted, the chat option is available. Feel free to chat your questions or ask that to us directly also. You can send a question to me or to the host, and we will be bringing that up with our speakers. So thank you. And with this wonderful presentation, we will transition to Camilla, who has been leading this work from Circular Economist side with us for almost over a year now. So Camilla, as you introduce yourself, I'll be just switching the slides on the back end. Over to you.
Thank you, Oishi. So hello, everybody. My name is Camilla. I'm a consultant at Circle Economy. We are an impact organization, probably most well known for our Circular Gap Report initiative. We have various teams and various thematic areas that we focus on. I tend to focus on businesses, so more one-to-one consulting, and yeah, just business focus. So. And I did, before entering the circular economy space, or let's say as a career, I worked in waste management before. So it was a very nice assignment for me to work on this theme development for Iris Plus. And I'm very excited to share with you what we've come up with. So next slide, please, Oishi. I'll start with just a bit about the background. So where we got some of our initial insights. Next slide, please, and how they were used for the development of the strategic goals. So at the very beginning of our work, we spoke to some of the working group members and other investors to get a sense of what their key challenges were when it came to investing in waste management related companies or projects and so forth. We found through surveys and other conversations that data availability and quality leads to a lot of challenges. Oftentimes, end-of-life data is not even collected, or it's difficult to find. As maybe you can, as many can understand, waste travels globally, so there are untransparent supply chains, and it makes it quite difficult to track materials. There's no standardized way of tracking how waste flows through value chains, also how they're collected at end of life. So there's inconsistency in how how waste management is assessed. There is a lot of illegal waste dumping that happens globally, and there are many regional differences. The proof of impact that investors are really challenged with is how do we measure what we don't have data for? Of course. It can also be complicated when there is informality in the workspace that tends to also be quite a gray area. It's difficult to get data where there is informality, and also linking waste and resource use to climate and climate change can sometimes also remain a challenge. Lastly is the upstream activities. How can we prove that upstream activities or investments can have a direct impact downstream? That can also sometimes be a bit of a gray area. So these were some of the key challenges for investors that we took into consideration when developing out our theme. Next slide, please. Some of the insights that we've also gained through these conversations was that there is still quite a focus in the investing world to invest in conventional waste management activities. Of course, it's also something quite tangible. We deal with it in our everyday lives, and oftentimes the detrimental impact is very visible. So there's still a lot of interest in investing in conventional waste management. At the same time, there is also growing interest in the upstream activities focused on waste prevention. So how can we minimize or reduce or even eliminate the need for waste in the first place? Currently, many impact investors are struggling with any opportunities that focus on consumers. However, that is still a very important element in the waste generation and waste prevention efforts. Finally, impact investments from improved product designs are considered quite complex to measure, but still very important. So in the impact investing world, that is recognized that we do need to understand how can we prevent from the start, but then how can we measure that impact? Next slide, please. So what we decided to focus on, given these insights and also given our expertise, is to really take on a value chain perspective. So this is what we call our value hill framework, comparing the traditional linear economy on the left to the circular economy on the right. We felt that it was quite important for the development of this theme that we actually expand the scope from just thinking waste management at end of life to think about waste prevention at the beginning and upstream. So as you can see in a conventional linear economy, value is added to materials pre-use, and after use or post-use, value is very quickly deteriorates. So that is at the end of life of a product or a material, it has no pathway for returning into the ecosystem or economic system to be reused, which instead in the circular economy, as shown in the visual on the right, in a circular economy, post-use is seen as an opportunity to retain value using different strategies like reuse, refurbishing, and recycling, and so on. Next slide, please. So this framework was used to help us include, let's say, the 3 essential business models of the circular economy to develop out what Panagiotta was mentioning before, what we would like to see in the future for an ideal, let's say, waste management system. Considering also the social foundations as a basis for all of these, for this transition to happen in an equitable and successful way. So starting from the left, we look at circular design as a strategy for waste prevention, optimal use of resources, also for as a strategy to prevent waste in the first place, value recovery. So once materials do reach that end of life, what are the best pathways to recover the value and maintain the material in circulation? And then lastly, we have a strategic goal on the social element. So how can we measure and ensure that at the social level, the transition is just and equitable? Next slide, please. So I'll now go through the strategic goals and some of the outcome metrics per strategic goal. And as Panagiotta mentioned before, we have many metrics here. So I will only be focusing on the high level, on the high level metrics. And if you are curious, I do really encourage you to look at the public comment document to dive deeper into the other metrics. But I will be giving you the high level outcome metrics for each strategic goal. Next slide, please. So our first strategic goal we've outlined or named as minimizing waste by adopting circular design principles for products and manufacturing. So the outcome that we hope to achieve with this strategic goal is seeing an increase in the durability, repairability, and recyclability of products. This means that products need to be designed this way in the first place in order to prevent waste from happening or prevent it for a longer period. The outcome indicators that we've selected for this are actual lifetime indicator, so measuring the lifetime of a product or a material to really indicate how long that product remains functional compared to the standard. The second indicator is the proportion of recyclable materials within the product. So what is either coming in that is recycled, but what also makes it more recyclable and why. Next slide. Sticking with a strategic goal, the first strategic goal, I've also included here a hypothetical example of a company that does implement circular design. So the example is a modular smartphone manufacturer, and many of you might find this familiar, but a modular smartphone manufacturer that offers a warranty period that designs their phone for repairability and also for durability. So these are, yes, thank you. Those are circular design in practice. The second strategic goal is optimal resource use through business models that maximize utility and lifetime extension of products. So the outcome that we aim to achieve here is the increased product or component lifetime extension through reuse, repair, refurbish, or remanufacturing services. How we would measure this is actual recovery by lifetime extension. What that means is how many products are actually recovered for the purpose of a lifetime extension strategy. So, for example, something that is recovered for the purpose of repair or for the purpose of resale. That's what we're looking to measure here. The second indicator is actual recovery by type. So what material is being recovered through what specific recovery type. So that broadens the scope a little bit. Next slide, please. The example here is an outdoor furniture manufacturing that might be piloting a service agreement model with some of their long-term customers and collecting back their product for refurbishment, repair, or resale. Third strategic goal, minimized waste through infrastructure for capturing, recycling, and disposing waste. The focus here is really increasing the capability of technologies for better recycling, but also just for improved waste management practices in general. The outcome indicator here is the percent recycling yield, which means how much of recycled material is converted into a usable output, which indicates the efficiency of the process. So that's what we focused on for this one. Again, I will remind you there are many more indicators to look through. Next slide, please. The example here is a technology like an AI-enabled plastic recycling facility that really focuses on traceability of materials and also high-quality output, meaning usable. Thanks, Oishi. Final strategic goal is for a just and equitable resource management and supply chains for all workers. Notice here that we use the words resource management and supply chains because we do find that it's quite important that just and equitable work happens throughout the value chain, not only at the end, but also at the beginning. The outcome that we want to focus on here is increase in policies for fair treatment, equal opportunity, and respect for rights. There is, of course, a bit more of a focus here on informal work. And we have a few more indicators compared to the other strategic goals. So the first one is change in access to personal protective equipment. So that would mean any kind of activities that safeguard practices for all employees, including formal and informal workers, by providing things like personal protective equipment. The second one, the evolution of hazard identification practices. So improving hazard identification because of an investment. So within any work space, making sure that hazard identification and occupational injury is also decreased, which is the fourth outcome. So sorry for jumping. Third indicator, the evolution of employee training and transition programs, also very important to consider and to see training and skills development as an option for all employees, whether formal or informal. This is also to account for the change in what we are expecting with the different types of materials coming through or the different needs. If we have less waste, we hope that we have more repair, for example, more repair skills. The people who depend on waste for their income can also be trained for other forms of maintaining materials in an ecosystem. And finally, as I mentioned a little bit before, change in occupational injuries. Can we measure over time that fatal and non-fatal industries are improved by specific investment? Next slide, please. So an example here of a company that would be investable, or a good investment to measure these outcomes would be something like a worker-owned cooperative providing personal protective equipment to workers and the community that is handling hazardous materials, but also providing training or transition programs to upskill workers into higher value activities. So that's the end of my talk. That is, again, a high level of more of an overview of our 4 strategic goals and the outcomes. Again, I would encourage everybody to please provide us feedback and look at all of the other indicators that would that we've included for each. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Camilla. And everyone, you can see my colleague Kellen has posted the public comment period document. So before we jump into Q&A, I wanted to show you quickly how the document looks like live, just briefly scrolling through, like how to comment, what to look for in that document. So as you can see, this is on Google Docs. You're looking at a view that is the back end of. Sorry about that. Now you can see the document version. So on the left-hand side, this is a Google Doc navigation that you can use quickly to switch between sections. I'll zoom in. You can get into Write Note for Reviewers. You can look into the theme summary here. You can look into each of the strategic goal core indicators and metrics by just clicking here. And in the note for reviewer section, everything that needs your attention is highlighted in yellow. So where to start is this how to review one pager, which is very quick. Especially if you're new to IRIS, this is a good place to start. If you've commented on our public comment regularly, feel free to skip it. So here you can see these are the quick links to the core metric sets here in this document. The new metrics, as I have mentioned earlier, that as part of this theme, there are 30 plus new IRIS Plus metrics that are launching for the IRIS Plus catalog, and they're meant to be used across various IRIS Plus themes and SDGs. So please do take a look at them. They're included separately in a separate document. You can see the preview here, which comes with metric titles, definitions, and usage guidance for each of the metric in detail. I can see some of you are already in the document, and there are very critical glossary terms which have been developed over a really long discussion. These also apply to themes beyond waste management, so please do remember that. So we have pulled out these links so you can basically side by side review the indicators on this document as you review the new metrics and the definitions in a different document for a better and improved viewing experience. So here, upcoming, we also have a number of regional calls set up. For your time zone, for those of you who couldn't be here live, but you are based out of the world, we have calls for Asia, Africa, Europe, Oceania zones, of course, Americas as well, and you can sign up for each of these calls and invite your colleagues and stakeholders you work with as well. So please do use the comment feature. So you can just click on a section you're commenting on and you can just add your comment there. The document, this is a limitation of Google Docs, unfortunately, that on the commenters view, you will be able to suggest, delete, or edits. We recommend that you don't do that. If you want change to any section or text, please do just use the comment feature for that. So that's basically the basic instruction. And if you just scroll through the document, this is the overall summary table. You can see already folks have started to comment. You can engage. This is the most interesting part, is you are able to engage to anyone's comment if you agree, if you want to add something. So just a resource. If you want to engage in a healthy debate, we welcome all of that. And also here you can see there's a summary table that summarizes all the strategic goals, outcomes, and outcome indicators that Camilla just walked us through. And if you look into, let's say, an example, strategic goal 4, you can see the indicators and metrics are across each dimension. So this is the what dimension, which houses our outcome indicators. Each of the indicator, which is in this column, comes with a set of metrics that Panayota had explained. they are used to measure this indicator. They have IRIS ID. If it's an existing IRIS metric, it will take you to our website. You'll be able to view the guidance. If it's a new one, then it will take you to the new metrics document, which this will do in this case. We recommend that you review the metric guidance as well as this calculation guidance, which is for this indicator right on this column. You can see the alignment notes. If you have suggestions for additional standards that we could look into, please do suggest that. And this is essentially the what section, the what dimension. Then we also have the how much dimension, which talks about scale and depth for each of the outcome indicators. What dimension? Then we have, which is very unique, and this is core to the IRIS Plus recipe, which is the how is change happening dimension. This essentially connects various theories of change with outcome indicator through these steps that a theory of change and log frame follows, which is how is change happening step by step. So this provides you with a set of indicators and these changes, like how is change happening? Change is happening through fair wage practices, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see these indicators, metrics, guidance for the how is change happening section. So that's about it. Feel free to scroll through the document. If you have any questions on the document, we're always here. We're an email away. And now we will be pausing for questions. I can see some of you had your hands up. If you would like to ask the question, you can send it on the chat, or you can come live as well if you'd like to. Okay, so we have one question, Camilla, if you could help us understand, how did we arrive at the 4 strategic goals?
Yes, thanks, Rishi. We arrived at the 4 strategic goals in collaboration with the working group members. It did start with our suggestion to take a value chain perspective. So to have both the upstream, midstream, and downstream overview so that we could capture waste prevention strategies as part of this waste management theme. And in that case, it was the first 3 really just followed upstream, midstream, and end of life. And then with including the 4th, which was the social dimension, which was, of course, very important for quite a few of the working group members, and quite easy to very complementary to the value chain perspective as well.
Thanks so much, Camilla. Anything you'd like to add, Pranahita?
Maybe just to note that this was very much an intentional focus towards the start of this collaborative process. In other words, what do we want to visualize as a good state for waste management? We quickly felt that circularity principles have to be a part of that vision. And then we started parsing that into specific strategic goals, and then from then on to outcomes.
Thank you. And I think I'll quickly add that these are the 4 strategic goals, but when this content is available in IRIS Plus, you'll be able to see, relevant to your theory of change and impact model, you'll be able to see various other themes as well, which also are relevant. So if it's marine pollution that you're looking into, you might not see it here, but you will see it in IRIS Plus, which we just launched in June. There's another strategic goal that if that's what your focus is. So the overall focus on waste is much broader, and it will continue. It's not exhaustive. That's what I wanted to add. And Camilla, if there is anything that you want to highlight in terms of when we were selecting there was a long process that went behind selecting various indicators and outcome indicators, and various theories of change and examples that were looked into. So if you'd like to highlight the process of like how we form the evidence map, the research that goes behind each of the outcomes and the indicators for our audience.
Sure, yes. Once we had developed at least a direction of the strategic goals that we wanted to focus on, we went into more evidencing. So how can we provide evidence that these activities do in fact have an impact on waste? So the process was both a bit speaking to other impact investors and doing some desk research to understand what's happening out there. All of that input was then used to develop the strategic goal, to formulate the strategic goal, but also more importantly to formulate the metric sets for each. So what should be the main focus? So that input was used to understand what should be the main focus, where does the interest lie, and also what might be feasible. We had also quite a few conversations on the feasibility of some of these indicators because no doubt some of this data is quite difficult to obtain. And the conversations that we were having with the working group members, but also, of course, the GIIN team, was understanding, okay, is this fair, and is this going to help us achieve the vision that we have, or that we would like, that collectively we want for a waste management, both the theme, but in general as an overall impact. Can we keep these challenging indicators in, and why are they important? What do they link to? What other standards are also asking for this data? And understanding also why that was important. I hope that was clear.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think to add to that, we also are very intentional in the way working groups are formed, right? Like we try to keep a really, really well balanced between investors and stakeholders as well. So we get kind of like a 360 and across geography, like various contextual backgrounds. I remember that, when we shared the early draft with our working group for the fourth strategic goal, which focuses on informal work, many of the indicators, for example, were like, okay, access to PPE. That's one indicator and a very popular one, but does access to PPE actually mean that this person is protected? Like, what does the access guarantee and what does it not? So what do we need? And we kind of looked beyond access indicators to also like, okay, what could meaningful impact look like here? And then, like going beyond. So that's kind of, I think, to add that how we start somewhere with strategic goals being an outcome, being like an anchor, and then looking into outcome indicators and kind of expanding beyond being challenged. So I think with this, I want to transition to asking both of you, what kind of feedback are you looking for? Are you excited, to be challenged on for this work?
Maybe just to add on the previous question, for the expectation of what RS Plus users and the broad public may be able to find when their content is uploaded and launched onto our website, it includes two things in the direction of evidencing. One, I would say evidencing and referencing. One is that there is an evidence section where there is a list of references for the outcomes for each strategic goals that includes industry reports, academic papers, research that really on which we're able to make the case is made from the authors that there is a particular link, for example, between recycling and minimizing waste. and so on and so forth. So there's that, the evidence map, and that list of references as a resource. You may want to use that when you're evidencing your own theory of change, for example, and lean into that, you're welcome to. And the other one, Camilla mentioned it, but just to highlight again, I think it's very important. In the calculation and usage guidance, you will find references to the external standards and frameworks that I mentioned earlier that we want to lean on, and we lean on to value add them, to bring them into the fold for impact investors, and particularly to better utilizing them. In terms of the question or issue on what we would like to hear from reviewers, we would love to hear any changes that you're thinking may be needed for the metrics and indicators that we're suggesting to make sense. Perhaps you're using one of the indicators, lifetime extension, but you're using it somehow a little bit different, and you're wondering how come we're not articulating it in the same way. Let us know how you feel it's better. So we will take that into account, and we'll consider that. And if you think that there's something that you don't see, that it's very important for that to be there in the context of the specific outcomes and strategic goals that we are canvassing. As Oishi mentioned, this is not meant to be exhaustive. The thematic and topic is vast, and we could also go much more deeper and nuance, for example, in terms of sectors, but we have formulated the strategic goals we have found to be very important, central for investors, and we feel are very important for the overall positive vision for waste management and circularity. And we have formulated some more specific, actionable, measurable outcomes. In that context, if you think something is missing, please let us know. And of course, your general feedback is also welcome.
Thanks, Panagiotis. Kamala, do you want to add anything?
I second what Panagiotis says, and also to emphasize understanding how what you are measuring today, and if any of the indicators resemble something that you are measuring today, and how they might differ. That's something I would really like to also understand better.
Thank you. Thanks for that. And I think thank you, Tyler Wood from WTCM, for highlighting this. So yes, you're welcome to schedule one-on-one calls as well to provide detailed feedback across, beyond the regional calls that we're hosting. And also somebody mentioned this, and I forgot. Thank you for doing that. You can provide anonymized comments as well. You can represent yourself independently as well, so we welcome that. Either way, all the comments are, yes, on the document publicly available. However, when we publish our response to it with the launch of the final content, we do not disclose the comments, like who it came from. So you're welcome to email us. I will drop my email in the chat, and it's also available on the website, which is our general IRIS ID. You're welcome to email us for anonymous or independent comments. So great question. And with that, we're towards the end of, actually, we're at the end of our webinar. So thank you so much to our speakers, Panagiotis and Camilla, for wonderful work, your leadership in this work, your contributions throughout this very long process. And to our colleagues that you don't see here, Kellen, Grace, and Gulshan, who are at the back end, working on this, our copy editor, who's been working days and nights to make this work possible. So thank you, everyone. And we will be hearing from you, hopefully, throughout the public comment, and have a very, very wonderful rest of your day.